This is the Hanging with A podcast.
What's up? This is the Hanging with A podcast, episode 50, coming to you always from Brockton, Massachusetts. I just want to say thank you before we get started to everybody for helping me get to episode 50. I appreciate all the love and all the support. The Hanging with A podcast is monetized. That does not happen without the love and support of all of you guys. So I want to say thank you very much for all that. It's a blessing. You can find the Hanging with A podcast on YouTube. I'm on Spotify. I'm on Instagram. I'm on TikTok. I'm all over the place, building my brand up. Um, this is episode 50, 50 years of hip hop. Um, the guy that I'm getting ready to introduce is my favorite MC of all time. I got his CD 1999 at Best Buy. My best friend, shout out my best friend Craig Fowler, said, you know what, I want to introduce you to Dr. Dre's first artist. And I was like, oh, like I thought at that moment, I was like, oh, I thought Snoop was his first artist. He said, no, I'm going to introduce you to somebody that was his first artist. And he introduced me to No One Can Do It Better. And I fell in love with that album. And I've been in love with that album ever since. As you can see, my hoodie. Ladies and gentlemen, I give to you the D.O.C.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. I appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate you having me on your show.
No problem at all, man. So tell the people, man, tell everybody, who are you?
I'm Doc. You said it, just D.O.C. from Dallas, Funky Town, Fort Worth, Texas, and uh, uh, yeah, MC. Producer, artist, writer. All of the above. Just a creative shit for the past 30, 40, 45 years or so.
Yep, that's good. What was life like growing up for you?
I'm from Texas, and I was raised, with both parents in the house. And although I wasn't a quote unquote good kid necessarily, I wasn't a quote unquote bad one either. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Uh, I didn't get along in school. Me in school, we didn't get along. But me in books, we got along, and so, uh, I read a lot, and grew up to be rather of a voracious reader. And the words end up serving me well later on in life. But man, we family in Texas. So me, it was all about my family, my cousins, my aunts and uncles and mamas and high school sports and all that old kind of shit.
yeah. My grandfather lives in Fort Worth, Texas, so I spent some time in Texas. As a kid, my mom was from Daytona Beach, Florida, so between Florida and Texas, I spent a lot of time. So I definitely understand when you say Texas is like family, because when I went to go visit him, that's how it felt.
Yeah. That's how we do it down here, man.
Yeah. When you think about your life, like what comes to mind, like everything that you've done, like what comes to mind?
Well, these days, I'm assured that life is purposeful. So now I feel great. You know, I still don't have all the gifts and all the shiny things, but I feel like I do. I feel like I'm him still. Um, it, it, I didn't feel like I was him for a while, but I kind of feel like him these days. And, it's a good feeling. When I did that documentary, it was very cathartic for me. It allowed me to let a lot of demons go, and begin to rebuild myself from the inside.
Yeah, yeah,
I started trying to act and do little things over the past couple of years, and people seem to be responding well. So I'm in a good space.
yeah, yeah. I can't wait to see the documentary. I've been waiting for that. since it was announced. So I can't wait to be able to sit down and watch it. So that'll be special. You traveled to Dallas to LA in 1987. Like, what was that transition like for you? I mean, coming from Texas, going to California, what was that like for you?
Well, hell, not only just coming from Texas, but I wasn't a thug guy. I just wasn't into that space. Even in the projects in West Dallas, when it was guys out there doing that kind of thing, it just wasn't me. So when I got to LA, that shit was like a real culture shock, for me. But um, I'm 6'4", and I look like I was whooping their ass. So most folks never even said nothing wrong to me, and I
Yeah,
had so much confidence as a rapper that most folks just took that as strength, and everybody was rocking with me. So I loved California when I first got there. It was a beautiful place. It was dangerous as hell, but for me it was a great place.
yeah. You was part of the Fila Fresh crew. That was your first rap crew that you was a part of. What was that like? What was that experience like? How did you guys meet? How did you guys connect?
Young cats in the projects, doing the dozens and shit,
Yeah.
rapping on each other mamas and all this old kind of shit. And just gained a camaraderie. And as things developed, we began to do things together. And we got noticed by this guy named Dr. Rock, who was on a radio station down here. That guy knew Dr. Dre. And it's just little stepping stones for me, how it all just kind of unfolded.
Okay. Um, you leave the Fila Fresh crew. All right. You're going to L.A. To meet Dr. Dre, Eazy-E. Like, what was that like meeting Dr. Dre for the first time and Eazy-E for the first time? Like, what was that like for you?
I met those guys in Dallas for the first time. Well, I met Dre for the first time in Dallas. He had came down to produce 4 songs on the Fila Fresh crew. That's how I met him. Rock, Rock got him to come down, and so he was like, "Man, you the shit. You should come to LA." And at first, I told him no, but extenuating circumstances kind of began to happen around me, so I revisited it, and just took a chance. And it was God's will that I got up there when I did, and things just started. For I think maybe it was a couple weeks, 2, 3 weeks after I got there, We Want Easy was done and #1 on the radio. And so it happened real fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Um, did you come from a musical family?
My father was a singer. I learned later on in life that there's a theater in Dallas that's named after a great aunt of mine. So the shit is in my blood. Down here, we don't, at least in my tree, we don't know. I don't know a whole lot about the lineage, but I learned from one of my father's cousins that there's a theater in Dallas that used to be performed at a lot by a great aunt of mine. That's crazy, right? Yeah, it's
That
very.
is crazy. That is crazy to see. Like, it's always crazy as you get older. You start to learn about different things and things that that has been inherited in your family. So that's cool.
I think it's really important, and it's kind of it's kind of it makes me sort of understand what we are as sort of as a group of people
Yeah,
because we're so disconnected from those pieces of us. It's hard for us to connect ourselves in the best way possible. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
we got to do better about making sure we learn about ourselves, man. I know they're trying to keep us from learning, but we got to figure it out.
Yeah, I teach. I'm a teacher, so I teach sixth, seventh, and eighth grade Black History, Bridge Boston Charter School, out here in Boston, and that's the biggest thing that I tell them. I was like, I want you guys to know and understand where you come from. You know what I mean? Who are we? Because they're trying to erase that, trying to erase our history. In Florida, the governor, he just said he has teachers, part of their curriculum, they have to teach how slavery benefited black people. It's like, are you kidding me?
I
It's
mean, come
like,
on, bro. That's it. See, some things for me, I'm a person who is really a no nonsense guy, and
yeah,
so some things are common sense. Now, I can even understand if you are tone deaf enough not to hear your own bullshit, but not to be empathetic enough to give it any kind of thought. It's like the Balenciaga ads and all of that kind of shit.
yeah,
Like for those things to make it to the people, it had to go through a lot of people. It had to go through a lot of checkoffs for it to make it to the folks. And I can almost understand you being racist and not knowing it. You know what I mean? Because you was raised up in this world. You think you can't see it. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
to not have empathy at all should be sort of a sign for you that you are living in that space. If you can look at those folks and deem them worthy, especially after all the shit they done went through of trying to learn the best of themselves. You don't want that somehow that's a negative for you. Then
yeah,
you should be able to see where you are in this game. And I clearly see, and I'm not gonna let you just pull no wool over my eyes with no fancy conversation to tell me you not what I see. You know what I mean? But
yeah,
I digress, good brother. I appreciate you for what you're doing, man, because it's really important.
yeah. Thank you very much. I really appreciate that. Um, July 25th, 1989. No One Could Do It Better was King comes out. Um, to me, the greatest rap album of all time. Um, just 10 tracks of just pure magic to me. You got The Formula, which is my favorite song, one of my favorite rap songs of all time. You got Funky Enough, you got Grand Finale, you got Mind Blowing. You got so many great tracks on there. Creating that album with Dr. Dre, what was that like?
Bro, we was just having fun. You know, every song sounds different because every song we was just trying different shit. You know, back in those days, it was really important to differentiate. And so even more than differentiating myself from another artist, we wanted to differentiate song and differentiate even every song one from the other so that it was just a complete body of work. You know what I mean? That's how Dre and I was thinking back then. And we were both learning and growing in that, 8 to 10 month period. We both were transforming in that space. But man, we was having a lot of fun. A lot of that work was just done in between the NWA work and the Eazy-E work. We would have time off and we would do my stuff. And so it was a fun time, bro. And those guys were geniuses. That's why they are what they are today. Because they was geniuses then. Cube and Dre were who they were. And by the time Snoop came, he was who he is. I was just blessed to be able to be in that circle, to be able to work with those boys.
Yeah, yeah. I listened to the track like Grand Finale, which is a classic track. I put that track up there as far as crew tracks go, with Marley Marr and the Symphony. I'll put Grand Finale like right there. And I think that was the last track that NWA, the last track that they all recorded together. What was it like recording that track with everybody?
I think we was getting ready to go on tour. The Straight Outta Compton tour was about to happen, I think, in the next week. So we was just wrapping up my joint. Everybody was happy. Everybody was at the studio that day, and we was just clowning, you know. And of course, I think me and Q was battling because somebody rewrote their raps. I don't know if it was me or him, uh, but we was getting it on that day, and it was just fun.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great track. I want to talk a little bit about the formula because that is my favorite track on the album. It's one of my favorite videos, and it's funny because when I do my introduction to my class, I have like things that like I want them to like respect me, respect each other, but I call it the formula because to me in that video, Dr. Dre was building the perfect MC, which was you. And I tell people that all the time. I was like, he's the perfect MC. You know what I mean? And your flow. You know, you're from Dallas, Texas, but if you didn't say you was from Dallas, Texas, and somebody heard that song, they'd be like, oh yeah, he's from New York. He's from the East Coast.
Oh yeah,
Automatically, that's what they're thinking.
oh yeah.
And like, talk to me a little bit about that song, and then also your flow. Like, you know what I mean? Like, where did that flow come from?
Well, bro. I'm just an artist. The music dictates. You know, I'm a more of a gay guy though. You know, for real, for real.
Yeah.
But the music always tells me what to do. Always tells me what to say. Dre came in. Him and Michelle that went to the movies, and he came back in after the movies and said he had a daydream that I was rapping a song called The Formula to this beat. And then he played the Marvin Gaye beat. And I stayed up all night and wrote that fucking record. And I was sitting around trying to think about what the formula was. What is the formula? What is the formula? And he said, well, the formula is these ingredients that you put together to make something. Okay, what are the ingredients I put together to make me? And I came up with the intro, high energy, flowing with the wisdom, sense of a rich man, knowledge and the rhythm. That's a run from Run DMC, KRS-One, Slick Rick, and Rakim. Those were and there's probably a lot of other guys, but that was the thing that immediately came to my mind. That's my formula, and wrote it out. E equals MC. E equals D.O. to the C.
Yeah. 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 Yeah, yeah, I love it. That's. I mean, every time I hear that song, my son is 10 years old, and like that song will come on, and he'll rap that song with his whole heart. You know what I mean? He'll rap that song with his whole heart because I play it a lot. He's heard me say it. He'll be like, "Daddy, can you play that song?" I'm like, "What song?" The Formula song. I said, "Oh yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, I can play that for you."
man, that's so cool, man.
But it's really cool. He'll be really happy to hear that I had this conversation with you because he loves that song, man, and he be rapping it with his whole heart and all his
What's his
soul.
name,
He
bro?
be rapping, you know what I mean?
What's
So
his name?
um but he loves that song. um
What's his name, brother?
Malcolm, his name is Malcolm.
Malcolm. Tell little Malcolm Uncle Doc said what's up, man.
All right, I tell him, I definitely will tell him. He'll be excited. um how was it like, how was it like working with Dr. Dre? Like, how was that experience, that brotherhood that you guys have built? How was that been?
You know what? Yeah, Dre is. I don't have a blood brother, um, and I only know a couple of other guys that I can count on one hand. The guys that I could use that moniker on, and Dre is probably the closest one. Just because of uh, the volume of time that we've spent together and the immensity of the accomplishments we've been able to have together, and it's all built on love and respect. Uh, Dr. Dre is the key. No question, he's the platform that the Matrix is built on. And we all have poured ourselves into that thing to make it what it is today. And he's been the source of a lot of great artists, And I'm blessed to be one of the first. You said I was his first, but I wasn't his first. Cube was actually, in my humble opinion, was his
Okay.
first. Even
Yeah.
if it wasn't a solo thing, the song when they made Gangsta Gangsta and Boys in the Hood and Dope Man, they had found the formula. They just didn't know it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They hadn't realized it, but they had found it. And
Yeah.
Cube was that component, you know. And then when Rand came, it added to that whole mix. Then when I came, you already had Eazy's voice, so you had all of these different flavors that you could add to this whole pie. And with Dre's thing as the base, you had everything you needed.
Yeah. 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 No, I mean, when I watched the NWA, the movie, you know what I mean, and you kind of like see like the different just how good everybody was. MC Ren, Eazy-E, and Dr. Dre, you, Ice Cube, DJ Yella. Everybody had a part, but everybody played their part. But you guys were so talented and so good at so many things that it was damn near unstoppable. Um, you talk a lot about Ice Cube. What was your relationship like with Ice Cube?
Ice Cube is Ice Cube is salt of the earth. You know what I mean? Like he's just a good man. You know, just a good guy. There's no Hollywood in him. He's not gonna change for you one way or the other. You know what I mean? He's not gonna go get a stylist to go to the damn thing. He gonna wear a suit and look like your uncle or some shit at the thing and be kicking it, and then go home and kick it with his family. You know,
Yeah.
one of those guys that's been with his wife since he was a child, kind of thing. Uh, uh, um, like I said, salt of the earth, man. There's very few guys that I've known 30, 40 years that have never changed a strike. And Ice-T and Ice Cube, uh, and Snoop Dogg, Warren G, those guys in my camp, they never changed. They've been through millions of records. They still the same ghetto guys I knew when I met them. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Ice Cube, man. I always tell people all the time, man. Like when I feel like when people talk about West Coast MCs, for whatever reason, they leave him off sometimes, and I'm just like, you can't leave out Ice Cube.
You can't
You
do
know what I
that.
mean? You
You
can't
can't
leave
do
out Ice
that.
Cube. Ice
There
Cube
is
should be
no
on
that.
everybody. He should be on everybody's list, and
That's right.
if you're doing a West Coast Mount Rushmore, he has to be on there.
That's right.
You know what I mean? You
That's,
can't. There's no West Coast without Ice Cube. So
that's right, bro.
um, I say that all the time. Um, what inspires you these days?
Man, I'm a community guy these days. I'm into change. And I'm just not getting my senses back, meaning I've been in a cloud of smoke for a long time. I'm just now getting back to trying to be creative, make art, do business, interact with people, And what I see is we still kind of in a box where we need to develop ourselves more, you know. It is a great reset going on around us. And so in the midst of all that chaos, we should take time to really re-engage and rebrand and redevelop, ourselves from the inside out, not necessarily the outside in, because the outside in just doesn't work. It hasn't worked, it hasn't been working, and the shit just don't work. And so if you really want change, you got to figure something else out. I'm on that crew. I'm on the let's figure some different shit out crew.
Yeah,
There are folks that They think that one day this red and blue shit is gonna work out, and you're gonna vote all this way, and it's gonna all. I'm like, man, that's a game that you guys have been playing for so long. By now, you should understand how that game works. It's not meant for it to work for the people that go to work every day. So it's the people that go to work every day need to get their shit together. And so I'm trying to have a conversation with them. And I wouldn't give a fuck what color you was, black, white, red, brown, or purple, if you go to work every day. And you want to have this motherfucker better for us all that have to go to work every day. Then yeah, you guys need to start having better conversations and get out of those factions because they don't serve you, you know. So I said all that to say this. I'm passionate about education.
Yeah.
It's not a fad to me because I feel like it's the key. And I don't mean, with all due respect, education in the form that the ISD system as it stands give kids. I don't think that it's even in the midst of all the BS that's going on. I don't think it's horrible and terrible. I think it's doing what it was made for. But now that we understand that, maybe we can add some things to it that makes it better for uh, those kids that are going to go through that program so that they're ready for tomorrow, the jobs of tomorrow, the situations of tomorrow, instead of teaching them the same shit you've been teaching them 40, 45 years ago, as if that is the end all be all to make
Right.
it in this world, because it's not. It's usually the system that you're connected to, whatever that system is, whether it's high school or college or whatever it is. And so I don't hate this. I don't hate the system makers anymore. I hate the motherfuckers that don't see the system and realize it and understand it. And like an alcoholic, keep doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different reality from it.
Yeah. No, I mean, I agree. I say that to my students all the time. It's like, I'm trying to teach you guys something that you're never going to hear about these things when you leave this school, unfortunately, because nobody's going to take the time to teach you it. You know what I mean? What's the point of having credit? You need to have credit. Credit is
Right.
important. You know what I mean? Like when you get out in the real world, they have to be able to adapt and they have to be able to survive. And if we're just teaching them the same things, like you said, we've been teaching them for 45 years, how are we getting them ready and prepared for real life situations? You know what I
You're
mean?
not.
Like, so it's like, you know, so at some part as a teacher, you got to say, you know what, I have to figure out something to do that can make a difference, that's going to make a change for my students. Because if we keep doing it like this, they're not going to grow to what the way that we want them to grow. You
That's
know?
right, bro. That's right, man. I stand by you 1,000%.
Yeah.
And look, I'm the father. I'm the old ass father of a 6-year old and an 8-year old. And so I heard the grades that you say that you messing with it, man. I commend you on just the patience that I know you must have for that job that you do. Uh,
Thank you. I have two 5-year olds, and then Malcolm is 10. I'm getting married in December 8th, 9th of this year.
oh, that's
Um,
dope. That's my
you
son's
know,
birthday, by the way.
yeah. I'm getting married. We're getting married, doing a Christmas themed wedding. Me and my fiance, my beautiful fiance, who was just my support system, she means everything to me. I'm lucky to have her in my life.
That's beautiful.
Um, but I'm just trying to do things the right way. You know what I mean? I want to get married. I want to have my family in place, and that's all I'm trying to do. Like, I love doing this because I love hip hop. Um, I love talking to people. I love helping people. And I've had a ton of people come on here, and this is their first time they've been on the podcast, but it's helping them in whatever they're doing. I just want to help and I just want to inspire others.
That's
I
it.
know when people look at this interview, they're gonna be like, man, like he got the D.O.C on there, and it's like this has just all been hard work. I've been working hard behind the scenes to make a lot of these things happen. And when I reached out to you, I was like, man, this is my favorite MC. I said I'm gonna go ahead and give it a shot. And when you responded, I was like, all right, you know what I mean? Hopefully, we'll get a chance to connect. And here we are, you know what I mean, with a chance to connect. And I get a chance to talk to you. I'll never forget this moment for the rest of my life,
Bro,
that I've been able to have this conversation.
Snoop calls me the people's champ because that's my nature, bro. Like I understand the big show business part of it, but it means so much more when you touch people that are real people that it means something to them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when people reach out to me on those social platforms and they're being really complimentary and they're giving me my flowers, so to speak, and they ask me for these kind of things, I would genuinely go out of my way because I know it means something for them. And so that's just the energy that you put in the universe, bro. When it really means something, something's going to come of it.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Um, what's a quote that you live by?
It's a God thing, not a D.O.C thing.
It's a God thing, not a D.O.C thing. I like that. I like that. Um, musically, right now, who are some of your favorite artists right now?
Man, I love everybody, bro. I don't have anything against any artist. I want people to get in there and get that money. I really don't care what you rap about or how you doing it. Get in there and get the money. Uh, if I had any kind of commentary, it would be that I would be hopeful that we begin to distinguish between art and reality in the music, or at least in terms of our conversation when the music ain't playing. You know what I mean? When you're having these kind of conversations, it's all right to speak well and be real and be cool or hard or whatever you got to do. It's all right to be a complimentary of your brother. It's all right to love one another. It's all right to care about others. You know, it's cool to be a vulnerable human being because we all are. We all go through shit, you know. Like what I said, so it's hard to care about other people. You know, it's cool to think you the one. You know, you Neo, you the shit, you the greatest of all time. Ain't nobody, you know, that's what this music is made off of. But we don't want to kill anyone, you know, not really. We want to tear their ass up on this record. We want to slaughter some motherfuckers on this wax. But we don't want folks to die because of music. We want everybody to get money because it's enough for everybody. We want to be able to clean up our communities so that the music doesn't dictate what's going on the blocks, but we do. You know what I mean? So that we can control our communities while the police patrol our communities. We still maintain the control of our communities, and for me, that would be heaven. You know,
Yeah.
but one step at a time.
Yeah. 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 I mean, yep, it's one step at a time. We'll hopefully get there, eventually get there. You talked a little bit about the documentary at the beginning. What is that? What was that experience like going through that documentary, seeing, reliving a lot of things, and what are you looking forward to once it comes out for the people?
Man, I'm so excited about this documentary, bro, because everybody that sees it is changed by it. And I just don't know any other documentary that folks say that, and for it to come from me, the dude that's in last place, kind of, the dude that's at the bottom of the proverbial barrel, so to speak, without all the accolades. Ain't nobody never gave me no awards or no this. They don't mention my name. When they make the cartoons, they never, I'm literally the black wolf But there's a purpose for mine too, and I think you get it in this movie. You know what I mean? I've never seen a documentary like this, bro. Um, it's super funny, makes you laugh, it makes you cry. You can't get past the first, 10 minutes before it locks you in, and you just stuck, and you learn a lot. It is the through line of the entire West Coast movement, in an hour and a half, you know, from a very different perspective than you've gotten it so far.
I'm looking forward to it. I can't wait. Do you have a date when it's coming out? Or are you still working?
Yeah, I'm getting close. And so in my hope, you know what I'm saying, I'd like to do December the 1st. It's Thanksgiving time because the mood of the film is one that puts you in that space. It's a real loving, inspirational hip hop story. It's a great present to hip hop on her 50th birthday, cause it is hip hop. You know what I'm saying? Ain't nothing. It's 1,000% authentic, uh, and it's every example of black love that exists on this planet, and no hate at all for an hour and a half, and in the middle of some real shit. You know.
Yeah,
And some superstars. It's a great film. I can't wait for it to come out December 1st, and I think that's a week before Earl. A week before Earl. Earl Spence going back in. So I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go back. I'm gonna have to go down there and walk him in with the formula this
okay.
time, so we make sure we come out with the right programming.
The right program. There you go. Yeah, be the
Yeah,
right program this time.
yeah,
That'll be a great song to walk him into. I mean,
yeah, man.
it gets you going. It gets your creative juice going. It just gets you flowing every time you hear that. Um, yeah. What advice would you give up and coming MC?
Yeah, man. Just be true to your gift, man. You know what I mean? Don't follow trends, because they come and go. Be real artists. They're here forever. Trends come and go. I'm not saying don't be trendy and go get your money if it's there for you to go get. Cause I'm a money guy. It's all about the paper. Go get your bread, young man, young woman. Go get your bread. But always be mindful that as a young person, you got a long life to live. And so, for that bread in that little 2, 3, 4 year window, don't sell the whole farm just to be able to get that little bit. Think about yourself in the future. But if you got action at it, man, go get it. And 9 times out of 10, if I can help you, I'll do it.
I tell a lot of young artists, that I listen to, they may send me their music, and I tell them all the time, be honest, be you, don't lie. You don't got to be cool. Think about the longevity of what you're trying to do. Think about what you're doing and be different than what everybody else is doing. Don't do what everybody else is doing. Create your own lane. And that's my advice I have for them all the time. Just create your own lane. Be you.
That's
You
the
know,
key.
that's the I think that's the best advice that I can give.
That's great
If
advice.
you if you could invite 10 people to dinner, dead or alive, who would you invite?
10 people.
10 people. Anybody. You can invite anybody.
Uh, Man, come on, man. That's a hell of a question. Well, first of all, let me start with Jesus, so he can say prayer. Uh, and we're going to pull Prince in because that's my boy.
Okay.
And Tupac and Big. Uh, uh, Aaliyah and Left Eye. Nate D.O. Double Jizzle, MC Breed. You know, these are all my family members.
Yeah.
Man, my grandmother. You know what I mean? Matter of fact, both my grandmothers. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, and my grandfather. Only knew one of those guys. That's 10. Those are the folks I'd have. So we'd have some fun. We could rap. We could sing. And we gonna eat. And we got somebody to say the prayer. We good.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good combination. Did you ever have a chance to meet Tupac when he was alive?
Yeah. We did a song with Dre together. Gotta get mine. Gotta get yours. Gotta get mine. And Pac and I were friends. I mean, we were good. We were good. I wasn't one of the ones that Pac really, attached himself to. I think I might have been more competition in that early era. But everybody that was my great friend loved him, and we all hung out together and we kicked it.
Okay. Yeah, Tupac was, everybody. When everybody thinks about, Tupac, I've heard so many great stories about him, like who he was away from the camera and away from the music, just the man he was. So, it's always nice to hear, the different stories. You've wrote a lot of songs for a lot of different artists, not just, I know you've written for Dr. Dre. You wrote a little bit for NWA. Um, is that thinking about that process, is it a hard process to write for other artists, or is it just like, I'm just going to write how I feel?
Yeah, like I said, the music tells you what to do. It doesn't matter who the artist is. The music dictates what's being done. I guess it does matter, slightly, but the music is going to always, for me, dictate what the song is, what it's about, how it's supposed to. I'll give you a perfect example. I was with Snoop in Chicago. He had did a song with R. Kelly called That's That Shit. Yeah, That's That Shit. And he was doing a video to that record, or one of those records. And I was in the trailer of his I was in his trailer. He's playing Al Green music. And there's a song that Al Green got is called Simply Beautiful.
Hmm.
And the song has this great riff. And I like to write some songs I like to write to the song itself because the words are already there, the changes are there. So they dictate other movement within the record for a writer. So I took that song and wrote a record called Pimpin' My Pen, right? Because Snoop is here and they got all this pimp stuff going on. And the pimp stuff is in my eyesight. Al Green is on the thing, who was a pimping preacher himself. So the song say, write a song about pimping. And it's dun, 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 simply you. You know, that whole thing. But in the song, like the whole first verse is about a pencil. But it sounds like I'm talking about pimping the whole time. And you don't find out till the last line that I'm really talking about a pencil and pimping a pen, you know. And so that the situation and the music dictated that the song be about pimping. Didn't matter who was actually no one rapped it because it's just a song I wrote. But the song made it about pimping, so it could have fitted Snoop or Outkast or anybody that's in that lane.
That's dope. That's really dope. When I think about NWA, and when NWA kind of, when everything kind of like just ended, and Ice Cube came out with No Vaseline, um, where he's attacking everybody in NWA. Um, in that moment, like when that song came out, because I don't think he mentioned you at all. He mentioned everybody else, but he did not mention you at all. What was it like hearing the song and then like saying, you know what, he didn't mention me at all? So what was that like? Because that's arguably probably one of the greatest diss songs of all time.
Bro, in my opinion, it is the greatest diss record ever made. Like, no, not a one wasted bar. He
Yeah,
tore their ass up from the goddamn it. I'm glad y'all set it off and blah, you know what I mean? And man, I was so happy that that motherfucker didn't say my name, but you know that the wreck had happened by then, right? And so, like I said, Q is a good dude, and he probably thought I can't, you know, this dude can't even fight back. You know what I mean? So probably left me alone. But you know, everybody loved that record, man. Everybody loved that record.
yeah.
You couldn't, man. What? Come on, man. It was beautiful.
That's the greatest. It is the greatest diss song of all time.
No,
I mean,
no question.
like you said, he didn't waste the bar from the
Not
beginning
one, bro.
when he said, "I'm glad y'all set it off," and he just went on. He went on and on and on and on and on. I'm like, man, like he is. I was like, man, he's giving them the business on this. He is not
And
playing.
look,
Y'all should have never said his name or said
that's right.
anything
Look,
about him.
nobody said nothing else after that.
Yeah,
They left that shit alone.
yeah, I know. I remember seeing you before I bought No One Can Do It Better. I remember seeing you in the Nothing But a G Thing video, and I remember saying to myself then when I saw it like in the early '90s, like who is this guy in the back of the who's this guy in the back of the lowrider? Because I was like I hadn't known who you were at all. And like now when I go back and look at it, I was like, yeah, that was a D.O.C. this whole time in the video. What was that like creating the Chronic? Because you helped with the Chronic 1 and you helped with 2001 as well. So like what was that like working with Dr. Dre on the Chronic? I think you worked on Snoop Dogg with Doggy Style, arguably two of the greatest West Coast, probably one of the two of the greatest hip hop albums ever created. Like what was that like for you?
Bro, like I said, it's just a blessing to be able to be a small part of the careers of giants in this space, bro. It's a blessing. And I don't take anything away from myself because I add anytime I'm around because I'm a giver. That's just the way I am. But those guys are icons, you know, and it was a real joy, you know, to be, especially at that time in my life, because I couldn't do it myself, you know. So I got a chance to live sort of vicariously through their success, you know, and I didn't get the money, you know, but I got the validation, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then to feel like you could be a part of so many people's lives with music has always been my thing. And so as long as the music is dope and I can be a part of it, man, I'm excited to be a part of it. No different from the record that they're working on now. Missionary, I think is the name that Snoop is going to use. Like the music that they're making now is so good in terms of sound quality and just the way that those guys are vibing together these days. It really feels like it's a progression of where we were, you know, where it would have naturally gone had we been able to stay together and continue to making music in the past.
And
So I'm really proud of those guys and really grateful to have played a small part in the success.
And Missionary is completely produced by Dr. Dre, correct?
Mhm.
Okay, yeah, I can't wait to hear that. That's gonna sound good because they haven't done. I don't think they've done a album together like that since Doggy Style. We all know how that came out. So
Yeah, it's good shit, man. It's got some real shit, and I'm looking forward to it. I was actually supposed to have been out there this week. I had to postpone my deal because I got some things that I got to take care of here in the city. But I'm doing my best to get out there as soon as possible just so I can add, what little I can to the mixture because I don't want to miss out. You know what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah, no, I absolutely agree. Before I let you go, two more questions because I should have asked you this earlier. Top 10. Who's in your top 10?
My
Favorite
brother,
MCs of all time.
I'm trying to develop a really great answer for that question
Okay.
because I really don't believe in it.
Yeah.
I don't want to. I really want motherfuckers to quit asking this shit because it doesn't exist. It's just a reason for motherfuckers to argue about some shit.
Yeah.
And I'm sick and tired of arguing. You know what I mean? Like we all, we are all a part of a DNA structure, and then there are eras to this structure. There's so many idiosyncrasies of every individual person that makes them special and unique and cold-blooded. That to try to bottle it all up in one individual is just it's so unbelievably unfair. Like I like all the top guys. I'm a Wayne guy and a Jay Z guy and an M guy and a Snoop guy and a Nas guy and a Scarface guy and a Kane guy and Cool James and Slick Rick and Rakim, of course, and an Ice Cube guy. Like, there's so many amazing MCs that a top 10, is thrown off. Because all those guys I just mentioned are top tier. You know
Top
what I
10.
mean?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, they are all of them. If if uh if you could tell a younger version of yourself, if you could give your a younger version of yourself advice, what would you say? What would a young DOC say? What would an old DOC say to a young DOC?
Hold on. Hold on. It's going to be bumpy ride. I was telling this to my cousin, my brother the other day, because so many folks, they see me and they think that it's such a cool space to be in. But if you knew the path, would you trade places with me? And I don't think if they knew, that path that I don't think a lot of folks would. I think they'd be like, man, we respect him, but no, I'm gonna let him have that. You know what I mean? Like, cause it hasn't been, but I think God got something really special and really important for me. Because if it was for me to be doing what these other guys would be doing, I'd have been doing that at a much higher level. Cause I'm still better than everybody. No, I'm just playing.
I mean,
But
no one. I mean, yeah, no one still can do it better.
no, I'm just saying. I'm just being for real. I think that there's another goal in mind for me, and it's community based, and it's more about me giving than me getting. And that seems to be the way it's always been for me. I'm at my best when I'm helping somebody else, when everybody seems to do better in that case. So maybe that's what I'm here for. So let me aim those superpowers at these kids in the communities where I come from. Let me use these blessings that are happening around me to target and aim that energy at them and see what happens. And I think that's my thing.
I think that's great. Um, you're a father. You're a father of 2 or 3.
I got
Um,
4. I got 4.
Father of 4. How was that? Like being a father of 4? Like how has that been for you?
Blessings, bro. My children are the things that brought me back to earth, for lack of a better way of putting it. One child at a time, you know. 2 girls and then 2 boys as I began to level off so that I could teach these boys what it means to be a man, right? I said it before, I'm the black wolf. I'm the man in my lineage that goes from just being connected to the child to doing my best to be a father to my son so that they understand who they are, what they're capable of, what they can be, and all these kind of things that I didn't get, so that they could be much better men. you know. And my last son, whose name is Doc, who thinks he can whoop my ass already right now, he running around the house talking about he want to arm wrestle all the time at 6. You can't beat me arm wrestling. Why you keep asking me that? Like, it's like he laying in wait. You know what I mean? The first time he beat me, he gonna start socking me, wanna push me down and shit. He's a dirty little. But no, man, being a father is the best thing that ever happened to me, bro. And folks asked me if I could go back and have things, would I? And I say, hell no, because it means I would have to give my babies back, and nothing that they can give you in this world is worth that.
No, that's absolutely true. That's absolutely true. Um, any advice? What would be some advice you would give me?
Stay prayed up, man. Keep your eyes open. We are in a reset. Things are changing around you all the time. Stay prayed up. Keep your eyes on your baby. Stay close to God. Stay close to your family.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you for doing this. Thank you very much for coming on. This means the world to me. Like I said, I've been a fan of you for a very, very long time. I will never forget this moment, this conversation that we shared. I appreciate you being a part of the Hanging with A podcast for episode 50, which is a big episode for me. It's my 50th episode. And, when I started this, I didn't know it was going to get to this point, but it is. And here we here. So
Yeah,
I want
man.
to say thank you very much. And, I'm going to continue to keep listening to this awesome record that I have on this sweatshirt. And the funny thing is that I've listened to this on CD. I've listened to it on cassette. So hopefully when for a wedding gift, I'll get a record player. I've never listened to this on vinyl.
Oh, you
So
gotta do that.
this is going to be my first vinyl record. Once I get the record player, I'm going to buy this. I already have it at my Amazon cart. I'm going to get this as a vinyl, and I'm going to play it. I think when I got the CD, I think I played this 25 times in the same day. I listened to it back and forth, and I was like, man, I just couldn't believe what I was hearing,
Wow. Thank you,
and
bro.
and I just was like, man, this is incredible, and I just want you to know that I'm giving you your flowers. You are the greatest MC in my book, and I'm going to make sure that every chance I get, I'm going to make sure that people know that and people
I
know
appreciate,
about this album because it's important to hip hop.
I appreciate you, brother. Same thing about this movie. It's important. It's an important movie. And that's why I'm fighting so hard for it. It's so important that we get to see it on our own terms, and it's got to be seen the right way. And so I'm gonna make sure that happens with the last breath that is in me. Peace and love to you, good brother.
Peace and
Peace
love.
and love to your family, and give Malcolm my best.
I will. Thank you.
Peace. Peace.
Peace.